Imagine two people standing in the same cathedral, side by side. They perform the same physical motions, kneeling and bowing in identical rhythm, and ultimately receive the exact same sacrament. Yet an hour later, they walk out into two different lives. Person A experiences a steady growth in virtue and a deepening of their interior life. Person B feels nothing and remains effectively unchanged, spiritually stalled for years. This discrepancy occurs despite a central tenet of Catholic theology, ex opere operato, or from the work performed. This means the sacraments carry an objective power that does not depend on the holiness of the priest or the recipient. When a sacrament is celebrated, an infinite faucet of divine life is turned on at 100%. If this divine input is an infinite constant, the lack of uniform results presents a logical contradiction. If the faucet is fully open for everyone, the reason for the spiritual stagnation in the pews must lie elsewhere. Christ's parable of the sower provides the specific agricultural logic needed to explain these outcomes. It shifts the focus from the power of the gift to the condition of the one receiving it. Within this framework, the success of a spiritual life is not determined by what God gives, but by the metaphysical agriculture of the human soul. The parable begins with a sower, representing God, scattering seed across a field. He throws it everywhere, hitting every type of terrain with the same high-potency seed, showing no partiality to one patch of earth over another. It is easy to view this seed as mere information, perhaps a sermon, an idea, or a moral lesson to be considered intellectually. This seed represents sanctifying grace, an actual infusion of divine life delivered through the sacraments. The seed is unchanging. The variable is the soil, your interior disposition. If a soul is hardened by pride, the seed hits the surface and bounces off, unable to absorb it. When a sacrament fails to produce a change in a person, the failure lies with the soil's resistance, not the seed's lack of potency. This creates a new problem. A gardener cannot simply plant a seed on a rock and hope for the best. For a hardened soul to become receptive, the ground itself must be altered. This preparation requires a catalyst, a sudden downpour of rain before planting. This is actual grace. Unlike the permanent indwelling of sanctifying grace, actual graces are transient nudges from God. They temporarily illuminate the mind and impulse the will, prompting the soul to move. But softening the surface isn't enough. The ground must be broken. This requires physical effort. We use sacramentals, acts like kneeling, bowing, or making the sign of the cross, as the tools for this labor. Because we are a composite of body and soul, these physical postures are not empty gestures. They are the means by which we intentionally break up the rocks of our own pride and clear the weeds of our distractions. These rituals do not create grace. Instead, prompted by the rain, they till the soul, widening the heart's capacity to receive the life flowing from the sacraments. We can now see why Person A and Person B had such different outcomes after receiving the same sacrament. Person A responded to the rain of actual grace. They used the tools of the sacramentals to actively till their heart, making it soft enough to absorb the seed and allow the divine life to take root. Person B performed the ritual on autopilot. By neglecting their interior disposition, they essentially handed God a patch of thorns and a concrete sidewalk, leaving the seed with nowhere to go. The parable of the sower describes the objective laws governing the soul's interaction with the divine. It is a map of how spiritual transformation actually happens. The sower guarantees that he will continually fling pure, infinite life onto your soul. The only variable left is the kind of ground you choose to offer him.